Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I understand the struggles that baritones and basses have when it comes to singing high notes. If you're anything like me, you've had your fair share of voice cracks and you've likely strained and struggled to sing high. Well, no longer. Even as a low voice singer, you can sing high. All it takes is a bit of practice and persistence. This video is going to teach you everything you need to know about singing high notes, and I'm going to give you the exact process that I use to sing high. This information doesn't just apply to baritones and basses, by the way, but it works for any voice type. If you're a soprano, alto, or tenor, then this video is for you too. Special thank you to my patrons on Patreon who are kindly sponsoring this video. If you want to become a patron, there's a link in the description. Let's get started. One of the most important things a singer needs to do is warm up. I feel like I say this in every single video that I make, but it's just so important to know. And I know for a fact that it's a topic of confusion for a lot of singers. To make this really simple and easy, let's break down the warm up into 3 pillars: body, breath, voice. We warm up the body first. So when we're struggling to sing high notes, what we often do is contort the body and move our neck in a strange way to try and squeeze the high note out. If you've done this, and I'm sure you have, you're not alone. When I was a kid, the higher the note, the higher my chin went. You raise me up! But wouldn't it be great if we could rid the body of potential tension before we sing? That's what you want to do here in the warm-up. And this can be really simple. Go for a walk, do some yoga, go for a swim. Even being active around the house is a great body warm-up. As long as your muscles are warm and your body feels ready, then I consider that a good warm-up. The next step is going to be breath. Now this is super simple, but really important. Remember this for later. High notes need air. At this stage of the warm-up, all we need to do is take a few healthy, slow breaths. I hate overcomplicating breathing, so whatever a healthy breath means to you is what you're going to do. For me, it means that my ribs and my stomach expand outward. It should feel free, it should feel easy, and there shouldn't be any aches or pains when you do this. We need to activate our breath support. Essentially, breath support is controlling the air that comes out. Improve your breath support by breathing out on an S or an SH sound. Let's try this breathing exercise right now. What I want you to do is breathe in through the nose for 2 beats, and I want you to exhale on an SH or a sh sound for 10 beats. Ready? Let's go. Very good. You probably felt some tension or some burning in your abs as you got to the end of the breath. This is good. If you couldn't get through the 10 beats, then maybe you need to decrease it to 8 or 6. And if that was too easy for you, then increase it to 14, 16, and so on. This is an exercise you can do every single day, and it's going to make a really big difference to your singing. Finally, we have arrived at step number 3, the vocal warm-up. Have you ever played Super Mario? The game starts out super easy and gradually gets harder as you play each level. This is Nintendo's way of teaching you how to play the game without a boring tutorial. This is what we want to do in our vocal warm-ups. Start off really easy and gradually increase the difficulty. Some exercises work on vocal range, which is the focus of this video. Some work on vocal agility, which is how fast you can sing, and some work on the quality or timbre of your voice, which really means what your voice sounds like. Here are some vocal exercises that you can do every single day that are really easy and that are really going to help you nail those high notes. Vocal warm-up number 1 is humming. This is really simple and effective. All you have to do is lightly close your lips together and hum. I really like this exercise because it allows me to feel the vibration in my chest voice. We should feel a really intense buzz right here. Like a caveman. Really feel this buzz. If you want, you could even sing a song on a hum. Vocal exercise number 2. Open up that hum to an ah vowel. Ah. We have 5 vowels. E, ah, o, u. Try singing a 5-note scale, which sounds like this. Ah. And I want you to start off with a hum, and when you get to the top note, open up to an ah vowel. Okay, here's your starting note. Ah, ah. Continue this exercise by going up by semitones. Point number 2 is sing from below. This is where you're going to prevent yourself from having any throat tension when you're trying to sing high notes. You've definitely sung from your throat before. I've done it so many times. We call this muscling a note. You feel like the only way you can get that high note is to just clench everything and try to scream the note out. We're all guilty of this, that's for sure, but this idea of singing from below is how you're going to prevent this. I mention this in all of my videos, but support is your ticket to easy high notes. There is no point in singing high notes if it's uncomfortable. Because if it's uncomfortable, then it's not sustainable. And if it's not sustainable, then what's the point? You want to be singing for a long time, and the best way to do that is to focus on vocal health. So let's break down these two terms, support and singing from below. Let's start with support. Support really means control, and there are a few parts of our bodies that make up our support system. So we have our ribs, our abs, and our diaphragm. When you breathe in, everything expands. And when you breathe out, you use this support system to control the air or the sound that's coming out. Here's an example of no support. Ah. And here's an example of support. Ah. Hear the difference? In the second one, I'm using my body to control the sound that's coming out, and I'm not for 1 second giving up that control. The second term is sing from below, and what that really means is using your lower abdominals to support that sound. When you breathe in, your stomach probably comes out a little bit. And at the end of the breath, the abs are squeezing and supporting that sound. You definitely experienced this when we did our shh exercise earlier in the video. We want our abs to be really working. This is good. So have tension in the abs, not in the throat. Repeat after me. Tension in the abs, not in the throat. The next point is preparation, and this is massively underrated. Imagine an Olympic diver, the ones that do a lead up before their dive. They do some preparatory jumps and then they dive. If they didn't have that preparation, their dive would be horrible. And singing is the exact same way. What I mean by this is if you don't sing the notes leading up to the high note, then the high note itself won't sound good. Besides, even if you do sing the high note well and the notes leading up to it sound really bad, then what's the point? You'll just have an uneven sound and nobody wants that. If you can shift your goals to sing every note beautifully and with proper support, then you're going to find great success. Let's look at an actual song for a second. Josh Groban's You Raise Me Up. If we look at the phrase, you raise me up is the high note. And then the you raise me would be the prep. So if you focus on singing you raise me really well, you're going to launch yourself into a really beautiful high note. 2 quick tips to help you sing You Raise Me Up. Practice it only on vowels. So the phrase you raise me up would be ooh-ay-ah. Consonants can get in the way, so when you're practicing, just throw them out the window. Do a physical movement when you're singing higher. What I like to do is pretend I'm turning a key that's giving me a lot of resistance. So imagine you're turning a key, it's really hard to turn, and turn it as you sing high. You raise me up. I immediately engage my core. I hope I didn't just blow out the mic. But perhaps the biggest roadblock to singing good high notes is you. Point number 4 is don't be scared. I teach for a living, so I know the fear in a singer's eye when they're approaching a high note and they don't really know what to do. And as a singer, I've experienced this many, many times. But think about it for a second. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Yeah, you might have a voice crack, you might sound bad for a second, but is it going to ruin the whole song? No. Plus, you're practicing. This is all about growth and experiencing those things. So voice cracks and failures and all those things are actually good. Embrace them. So let them happen in the practice room when you're practicing versus when you're on the stage. This idea of don't be afraid really ties into everything we've been talking about. And here's why. When we approach a high note with fear and hesitation, everything tightens up. Even if we don't realize it, our brain senses fear and then everything just kind of clenches. If you hadn't worried about it in the first place, the note probably would have been fine. My point is that 90% of the time when you don't hit the high note, it was because you did something that you didn't need to do. And that little fear, that little hesitation threw off the entire process. But if you're really warmed up and you think about this idea of supporting and singing from below, your high notes are going to soar. My advice is to trust the process. This process is tried and tested and it works. But first you need to learn the process. Click this video right here. It's going to teach you everything you need to know about vocal technique. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.